one. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? Welcome to the Midnight Mormons live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by none other than Will the Thrill Larkins. Are we up, bro? Are you checking your phone, making sure that it's up?
Ad. Yes, we are up.
Yeah, we're
There's
up. Okay, cool.
5-second ad.
All right. Okay, sweet. We're rocking and we're rolling. I also have in the studio none other than, where is he? Right. Oh, was that your big dramatic entrance?
Yeah.
Bruh? Okay.
Yeah, that felt cool.
Okay.
I liked it. It was style.
Yeah. Style points for Ryder Ellis and Brittany the Shadow. Oh, you guys' camera is off, man. We gotta. It's just straight up amateur hour here today.
Amateur.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just straight up amateur hour. Anyway, we got all kinds of stuff going on today. We're going to read a bunch of mean tweets from people and comments. Got some hate mail. That's always fun to read. We're going to talk about the fake SEC scandal. You know what I'm saying? Fake meaning politically motivated by people that hate us.
Okay,
And are
Carden,
never
I got a
satisfied.
question. Is this the
What?
I got a question, Carden.
What's the question?
Is this the best football league, or is this something else?
No, we're talking about the Security Exchange Commission, but you're trying to say that I haven't made any jokes about that. Actually, it's funny that you bring that up, just because I might as well read one of the mean tweets now that I put into the Discord. Okay, but let me see. It was one of the most recent ones. I'm going to pull it up right now. Somebody had made a comment on the Lazy Learners video. Here it is. I might as well just jump to it right now as we speak. But on the science proves lazy learners are real or something, in the comment section on the video, I had said, I'm also going to bump up the sound here for everybody. Okay. I think everybody should be able to hear us a little bit louder. Okay. So I don't want to blow your guys' ears out, but I know on past streams we've had a problem getting the sound up high. But anyway, now, boom. Now you got it. And it should be a lot higher. So anyway, in the Lazy Learners video, it was pretty funny. I had actually said that lazy learner was a super cute boomer pun, but I'd said pun, and it's not a pun. What's a pun? You know what a pun is, bro?
You told me about you told me the biggest thing.
Well, a pun is like when people say what's a pun? Like, tell me your Spider-Man joke. What's your Spider-Man joke, bro?
What do you call Spider-Man on a tree?
I forgot. What is it?
Peter Barker.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, okay. Maybe that's not a pun, but it's usually a play on words. All right, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like old people jokes. You know what I'm saying? So that's usually old people jokes are puns. Okay. So anyway, I'd actually said that lazy learner was a great pun, and then Matthew Cable, who I think usually trolls us, but I don't know, maybe he's not a troll. I don't remember, but I recognize his name. And he says, Cardin, quick comment on the show description. I'm not sure you know what the word pun means. Little ironic given the show is about lazy learners, but you might want to look that one up. That was pretty savage. So it was pretty funny. Somebody else said, that's a little sharp, Brother Cable. And I was like, hey, well deserved. That was funny. Lazy learner is indeed an alliteration, not a pun. Matthew Cable was right. So I just had to say, LOL, you're right. What was I thinking? I should have written an alliteration instead of pun. And now 2 of the ethos of this channel came out. And everybody, as you come into the chat, you will always get this from me. I said, you're the first person in the history of the show that's ever acknowledged the video description. And 2, I'm just going to leave it. I'm kind of a little bit of a freedom of speech purist, and I believe that, we all make mistakes. And part of the ways that we show that we're all human and we're contributing to the human family and so on and so forth is we leave those mistakes out in display to see, as long as it's not something like damning or damaging or something. So I'm actually just leaving that description up there where I totally messed up and called an alliteration a pun, just so everybody can see it. So, welcome to the chat, guys. This is just a fun surprise stream. So there's a lot that's been going on. I was just on Mormon News Roundup, okay? And we talked about some really interesting articles and things going on right now. Obviously, we got the fake SEC scandal. We can talk about that if you guys want to. There's so much to talk about. We got mean tweets. We got hilarious tweets from Kwaku. Brittany's brought the action, and she's got some funny TikToks, and she's going to tell us what's been going on in the world in pop culture, so we all stay up on things in Babylon. So we got so much to talk about. Just let us know what you want. If you have any burning questions, if you want us to address something, just send it in a super chat with a couple of exclamation marks, and we will totally address any questions you have. Before we go any further, though, babe, what's going on in the world? Like catch us up on real world stuff.
Okay, well, I'm willing. We can talk about World War III. We can talk about Selena Gomez. We can talk about Taylor Frankie Paul. I mean, there's just so much we could talk about.
Wait, Taylor Frankie Paul, what's happening? I don't know. What do you want to do, Ryder?
World War III. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I like pew-pews.
Yeah, World War III. Okay, well, World War III, then Taylor Frankie Paul. Hit us with World War III, then Taylor Frankie Paul. What's going on?
Okay. Do you have the Discord up?
I can pull the Discord up. Do I need to pull something up in the Discord?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to.
Okay.
I sent you a TikTok.
Okay, I don't have any TikToks in the Discord.
I sent you the links to them in the Discord.
Oh, Will sent it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not.
Anyway, I can just talk about it.
Yeah, just tell me what it is, because I don't see the links in the Discord. You might have to send them again, bro.
Okay, so Cardin, you've heard about the trains that got derailed, trains that happened to be holding some hazardous chemicals.
Some materiales, yes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and then government saying everything's fine, it's all fine. A plane going out of, I believe, Arkansas to Ohio, small plane carrying 5 passengers that happen to be environmentalists to test the water, the soil, the air quality. Okay, they all have their different niches. The plane crashes. They all die, including the pilot.
Oh, snap. I remember that. And they were paid for privately, weren't they?
Privately, yes.
They were not set by... Oh, so do you think the government is covering this up?
100%. The government wants to send their people that they can pay off. They don't like these independent private people that are going to say, yeah, this town should not be here because it's very toxic. Nope, so they got rid of them. Government doesn't want to hear that. Government is against us.
Dude, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just, we got a member that asked an interesting question here, talking about World War III. I think the strategy behind this whole Ukraine proxy war is so foolish, because it's just going to drive Russia into the arms of China. It's going to create a new alliance, a new allied and Axis powers, but now the Axis are actually formidable and control 40% of the world's economy. Lisa Serebryankova, I butchered your name, but it sounds awesome, and usually chicks with last names like that are gorgeous Russian models. So Lisa, glad to have you on the show, especially with your 2 big thumbs up exclamation marks. Those are pretty cool. So what do you think about Russian aggression in Ukraine and why the church said so little on the topic? Actually, to be honest with you, I don't think the church has said little on the topic. I think they've actually said a lot. I just did a talk on Russell M. No, not a talk. I just did my Elders Quorum lesson on Russell M. Nelson's last October conference talk. I can't remember exactly what the name of the talk was, but he comes out in a paragraph on my page was dedicated to, our heart goes out to the people in Ukraine and Russia. War is the worst thing that humans can engage in. And, the church is working tirelessly to help its members out there, and we call upon the leaders to find a solution to this mess that doesn't involve this atrocious loss of human life. I think they actually kind of did a robust condemnation of the war. Now, I mean, obviously, we're in an interesting spot right now, because historically we've been spoiled over the past 100 years without any kind of war where there was members of the church on both sides. It's kind of interesting. In World War II, you actually had German members of the church. People don't realize that all the way up until I think like 2010 or something, one of the largest expatriate congregations in Salt Lake City was actually the German-speaking congregation. It was pretty interesting. But we've got members of the church in Russia. We have members of the church in Ukraine. And obviously, the church isn't taking political sides because the church is not a political entity, but it's taking moral sides. And generally, the aggressor in war is condemned unless the reason is dang good. And I think the world recognizes that the reason is not dang good. So the church, being a non-military institution, all it can really do is say, like, you know, hey, we condemn unnecessary war, and this seems like an unnecessary war. I don't know what else the church can do. I notice this frustration as well, Lisa. I do believe you are Ukrainian, if I'm not mistaken, because you have commented before. And if so, bless your soul. Ukrainians are a lovely and beautiful people. Sometimes I get frustrated when the church doesn't do more to preserve its own history. And my mind was changed on this as well. When I met a church official, I said, dude, why don't you buy this structure and do this with it and yada, yada, this and that, make it into a museum. And he said, you know what? The church exists in order to make possible people having access to soul-saving and life-changing ordinances of the church. To be able to take part in the sacrament on Sunday, to be able to go do baptisms for the dead, to do temple sealings, to do proxy ordinances in the temple in order to worship their Savior, Jesus Christ, and try and be more like him. It's not a history association. You know, so try and team up with a 501c3 history association and try and preserve some of that history there. But the truth is, Mormon history is Mormon history, and we're not a historical society. We're a church. And so it's like political conflicts and war are political conflicts and war. The church isn't a military or really diplomatic organization outside of, you know, trying to be peacemakers when at arm's reach impossible. So, yeah, my heart breaks for anybody uniquely tied to this conflict, like I'm sure you are. However, I am aware of a lot of people in my stake, in our ward. We have a unique connection to this because past Ukrainian mission presidents are in my stake. And there's been very robust efforts behind the scenes, shall we say, to help. I'll just say to help, because I don't want to give away details. But yeah, you know, in the chat, some people have suggested the church having its own army. And, you know, actually, I think those days are a lot closer than people realize, when we will have to actually defend ourselves physically from factional violence. I don't think there's going to be civil war. I don't think there's going to be anything to the tune of that in the near future, but I definitely think factional violence is going to be a problem. Just look at the way that the rhetoric of all of the anti-Mormon podcasters online right now, they sound absolutely the same as Missourians did in the 1830s and 40s. So, and they hate us. They hate us just as much. I don't really feel that they would have any kind of problem with violence against us if they knew that they could successfully distance themselves from it enough. So, yeah, I actually think defending ourselves from factional violence is something that is going to have to be on the church radar in the near future. And frankly, we're not prepared for it because our church office building, employees, just have their heads in the sand still. But when it happens, it'll happen. And fortunately, Mormons always rise to the occasion. So I'm sure when it becomes necessary, we'll rise to the occasion. But anyway, yes, sorry, that was a very robust and verbose response to your question there. I apologize. Anyway, so yeah, babe, so you think that, what was it again? That World War III, how did the cover-up of the Ohio train wreck have to do with World War III?
Because I feel like America and our government is against us. I feel like we're already in some kind of war. We're just in a war against our government. And
you think so?
Totally.
You don't think it's just widespread incompetence by the wealthiest generation the world's ever seen?
I think they are very competent, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Really?
Carden,
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it's...
You didn't raise your hand. Ryder raised his hand. Look at that, dude.
Oh.
What's
See,
that?
Will.
Oh, I'm just kidding. Will, go.
If you want to check the Discord again to just see if it's in there, because I swear
Okay.
I sent those in, but...
Yep, not in the Discord, bro. I just looked right now. So see if you can get it in there, man.
Oh, crap.
See if you can get it in there.
No, and Carden,
Did
all
you,
of the
did
chicken
you get anything
farms.
from me?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay, now I know why. I don't think I was in the messaging thing with you.
No, don't be messaged. Just post it in the normal.
In the general?
Just in the general. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry. We're keeping the show going here, bro. No sidebars. So, Brittany, Taylor, Frankie, Paul. What's going on with Taylor, Frankie,
but
Paul?
First, before we
Put
go
your hand
there,
down, bro. You don't have to have your hand up. Your mom.
Before we go there, all the chicken farms, Carden,
Okay. What's
don't
up with the
think-
chicken farms?
they're all being destroyed.
So you-
Thousands upon thousands of chickens being burned in fires. Cows are just plopping over in the fields, dying. We're
okay.
getting rid of our food source. I think Bill Gates is behind it all.
Yeah.
I need freaking Quaku on this podcast with me. Or live stream, I should say.
Oh, that's funny. So you really think that under the guise of the avian flu, they're
They were going into people's backyards, backyard chickens, and destroying them.
really?
Yeah.
Is
And
that
the-
on video?
Yes, it's on TikTok. I'd have to find it. And
Okay.
then also, well, people claiming it. I mean, you don't see the people.
Well,
but they're
what do you say to the
saying-
people that say, look, we're tracing an avian flu virus and we're trying to eliminate the contagion because we've been through this before? And then I actually asked the chicken feed person at the place that sells chicken feed where we get our dog food. And I said, yo, what's up with this? You know, like supposedly Purina is adding a product that makes it so that the eggs have less eggs. Because I've been seeing that going around conservative media.
Yeah.
Even Candace Owens was saying it and so on and so forth. And what the lady at the chicken feed / dog feed place told me was that it wasn't that they were putting in any kind of suppressive products. It's just that they changed their formula and we're trying to use cheaper products and filler.
Sponsored by Bill Gates.
And that cheaper product and filler was less nutritious, and with less nutrition and less, especially less calcium.
It
the
goes back to
eggs
what I
were-
was saying. They're very competent. They know exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
Yes, they're trying to get rid of food sources. Chickens are a two-way food source. You can eat the chicken and you can eat the eggs. Get rid of that, man.
Okay. So you literally think they were trying to make it so that home chicken farmers couldn't lay as many eggs without being dependent upon the government.
Correct.
Okay, Ryder, what's up?
I love chickens, but if they start killing them, I'm gonna be kind of sad because, like, who am I gonna watch eat my leftover carrots? Like,
It's gonna be a tough one. They do eat. Oh, did you hear about that one town in Denmark that gave every person like 2 chickens if they wanted it?
Oh, it wasn't Denmark. It was it Denmark? I don't think it was Denmark. I think it was another country.
I'm pretty sure it was Denmark,
I thought it was Belgium.
or it might have been the Netherlands.
Somewhere in Europe. I don't know.
Okay, cool. But they gave everybody in the town a chicken, and the
Like 3
landfill.
chickens.
Yeah, and the landfill went down like 60% because the chickens were eating everything.
Yep.
So yeah, that actually is pretty
Which
cool.
brings it back. Okay, brings it back. Sorry, my voice. I am still so sick. Anyone else
Okay.
been so sick lately with
Thi-
this cold or flu or COVID? I don't think it's COVID,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, this week's been pretty gnarly.
maybe I have the chicken bird flu. I don't know.
So yeah, what's the third thing?
No, what was I gonna say? No, I forgot.
Taylor, Frankie, Paul.
No, it was back on World War III. Oh yeah, back to the Belgium or Denmark, whatever European country. You guys gotta find your community, find people that have chickens, find people that know how to sew. You might say I'm crazy, but I really feel like we're heading towards there. How many years have the prophets said get food storage? How many of us actually have done it?
That's true. Actually,
Not really
chat,
any
I
of
want to
us,
know.
right?
Chat, how many of you, okay, everybody in the chat actually want to know this before we talk about our next topic. How many people actually have a 3-day supply of food and water? And how many people actually have their 2-year supply? You know, who has their 72-hour kit, the 3-day 72-hour kit, and then who actually has their 2-year food supply? Because that's actually one of those things that's like, not Mormon lore, but like one of those things you should do, but nobody actually does. And
Everyone wants to go get food storage when they go to Target or they go to whatever grocery store and all the shelves are empty, and then they're like, oh shoot, yeah, the prophets have been telling us there's going to be food shortages.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I lived through the earthquake when water was shut down for a week in LA County. And man, our family had a wall of water, you know, from filling up the 2-liter bottles. And we were handing out water like hotcakes for people that had to like mix baby formula and people that had to cook with it
shoot!
and
Lots
stuff.
of people in the chat actually are really prepared for food.
Really?
shortages. We
Wow,
gotta
that's
get on
yeah,
that.
that's pretty. Oh
I think
man,
we
look
have
at that.
what, like a 48-hour kit.
If you count like water in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
You
no,
know,
but like our food barrel, we have,
Okay.
and we have like wheat from like the Civil War age. I don't know if I could eat that.
Oh wow, no, but look at this! Holy smoke! This is. I am really impressed with our audience. Like a solid 60%, have a solid 60% are straight up stocked up. That is really impressive.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked. I thought people would be more procrastinators like me.
Dude,
That's not-
Mr. Joshua, thanks so much for the super chat. Says being prepared is never a bad idea. Maybe a year supply. Wow, dude, that is really impressive.
Yeah.
Dude, you got your year supply, Will, to throw?
I think we got like a tiny bit. You know what makes me very sad?
What?
Back
What?
on the chicken thing.
Yeah, what?
Is I want to get chicken so bad.
Okay.
And then that was what I was gonna get for Christmas. And then we live in a stupid like PTO or like
the HOA.
HOA
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and we can't have chickens. Like it's crazy. Like we can't like do anything in our HOA.
Well,
It's
see,
like,
the way the coding is in California, actually, you might be able to fight that. Maybe the HOA can have its own internal rule, and who knows, if everybody signs on to the HOA, then they might be able to agree with the HOA. But UR2, which is urban residential 2, which is what most suburban houses are in California. Most homes are coded or zoned, for UR2. You're allowed to have up to like, I think it's like up to 6 chickens per acre or something. You're allowed to have plenty of chickens. You just can't have a rooster because the roosters do the whole in the morning and bug everybody. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. It
yeah.
was funny. Our neighbor, our so kind and gracious neighbor, that we all love so graciously, is just very strict on the rules of the neighborhood.
Yeah, but don't you have a neighbor that's like hunting down squirrels and making squirrel stew for you guys and
That's
stuff?
my other neighbor. Yeah.
Well, then you make up for the chickens by eating the squirrels, dude.
Yeah,
Wait,
okay.
He's making squirrel stew.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
gross.
It's not bad.
You
but-
wait, you ate it?
I mean, I've had a tiny bit at my other neighbor's house that
Can I
I
try?
love, but
Ugh.
our other neighbor, my brother Daniel, he got into archery,
Mhm.
so he bought a bow he got like a bow for Christmas or something,
Okay.
and he got a bunch of hay bales for it
Okay.
for like our backyard because it's like, well, what do you need so that you can use it?
Okay.
But the hay bales stop it. So he bought a bunch of hay bales and he had them in his truck, and he drives home, and we're like taking him to the backyard, and we just see our neighbor in her minivan just pull up behind our truck and just start taking like pictures of us, like taking out like all these hay bales, and just like getting like, you can tell she's just like a little like worried that we're having like livestock back there
Karen.
or something. She is a Karen.
She's a Karen.
Yeah. All right. So you guys
But
ready to
she's
go
like-
into the mean tweets?
She's so nice though, is the funny thing, but she
Yeah.
just is huge on these
Most
rules.
Karens are two-faced.
Dude, that's funny. So you're getting a lot of love in the chat,
Yeah.
bro. You're getting a lot of love. And Dean Schwank just became a member of the channel, man. That is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. We're gonna highlight your next comment, bro.
Nice.
So anyway,
Wait, I did so I can't remember who said it, but someone said to make sure you have seeds in your prep. I like that idea.
Yeah,
That's smart.
true. That's true. So what do you? Well, first off, tell us what happened with Taylor Frankie Paul, and then we can either get into the fake SEC scandal, or else we can get into the mean tweets and mailbag. But we only got 30 minutes left, and we can't do everything.
Well,
you know
I'd
what I'm
rather
saying?
Talk about
So
Selena Gomez than Taylor Frankie Paul.
okay, what happened with Selena Gomez? Hit us really fast.
So much. I don't know if I can sum it up in 30 minutes.
Okay, so then we'll just skip it. And
we could skip it.
Well, the problem is I don't know if
Yeah.
my comments are loading, because I keep sending them into the general,
oh.
but it's not like loading.
Oh, okay. Dang. Sorry. Then I guess we'll just go over mine. Thank you very much, Drake Thatcher, for the super chat says everyone should go back and listen to President Benson's Prepare for Days of Tribulation talk from 1980. He will spook you into preparing better. Oh, dude.
Ugh.
Benson was a boss, man. He was a boss. And actually, I think I have it down here. Hold on. I have a signed copy that Ezra Taft Benson wrote. I think it's called... Wait, let me see if I got it. Is this it? Yeah, right here. Ezra Taft Benson, The Red Carpet, Socialism, The Royal Road to Communism. I mean, back when presidents of the church and prophets were bosses and they weren't afraid to name them and call them out by name and put the communist scythe and hammer on a cover of a book next to their name and say, this is not the way. I mean, it was pretty hardcore. And it's kind of cool. Actually, I picked this one up and I don't think the bookstore realized it. But boom, got the signature right there. You see that? See that? I got the signature.
President
That's
Benson,
cool.
top G.
Yeah, I got my autograph. Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Did you authenticate the signature?
Yes, I did authenticate the signature.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
That's cool.
yeah, all right. So here, let's go over some of the news. You know, I'm getting all kinds of questions about this SEC scandal. All right? And no, it's not the football league, okay? It's the Securities and Exchange Commission. Are you aware of the scandal, Will?
No.
Okay, so basically, in the state of California, for example, if your mother and your father want to file their tax return, they have to declare, this is how much money we made, this is what our assets are. If they own property, they get property tax. If they, made income, they get income tax. If they made capital gains, they get capital gains tax, and so on and so forth. So there's all kinds of taxes that generally have to get levied by who? The government. Why? Because we are believers in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we believe that you got to render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, aka taxes, and you also have to render unto God that which is God's, aka our tithing, our volunteer time, our committing to building Zion, and so on and so forth. All right. Well, how do you measure what your tithing is? How do you measure what your property tax is? How do you measure what all of these different things are? Okay, well, it's a very complex process, okay, that involves a lot of self-declarations. And in the state of California, me and my wife, Brittany the Shadow, okay, if we want to file our taxes together, we can, because our assets don't change too much, or we can actually file them apart, because, whether they're put together and filed as one or whether they're taken apart and filed as two, the value of most things in our relationship doesn't change too much, and it really is just a function of convenience. As long as we don't file separately and then neither one of us declare our house or our income, thus misrepresenting ourselves, there's no real problem with filing taxes separately, right? Well, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 1964 had more members in the state of Utah than in any other state combined, and all of us were generally in the United States of America or Europe. However, by the 90s, we were a worldwide faith. Millions of people had literally converted in less than a 30-year period, and all of a sudden we found ourselves being an international church with members in all kinds of places, and the church had to start relying on A, church bureaucracy, and B, external third-party help. One of the help with their investments, because they get a lot of tithing money in, you can kind of handle it internally as long as you have less than 1 million or 2 million people, because then, you're just the size of, excuse me, you're just the size of a large city. But once you start having millions upon millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people, then you need to rely upon, third-party advisors. Well, one of those advisors was an organization called Ensign Peaks. They've handled a lot of the traded assets of the church. See, a lot of people think that this is all the church's money. No, dude, I don't even think it's a fifth. I'll be honest with you. I think they got a whole lot more than people are talking about here. It's just you have a bunch of troglodyte knuckleheads that are so desperate to do some damage to the church's reputation that they try and make the SEC scandal into something that absolutely isn't, by making the 44 million that's in that fund seem like, the 44 billion that's in that fund seem like, this big horrible church, they got all this money. Dude, I think this is like literally a drop in the bucket of the money they have, right? And then we're going to get into why I don't have a problem with that later on. But anyway, they have to rely on advisors to help them manage this money. And part of that management is the reporting and the declaration of what your assets are for taxation to the government, right? Well, you got a bunch of boomer people who've generally wanted to lower the profile of the church so you don't attract a lot of attention for lawsuits. Because let me tell you, the very first thing a lawyer does when you complain to him about some wrong that was done to you is he goes and he looks up the assets of the person that did that wrong. And let me tell you, if that person is poor, they don't bother. And they tell you that you shouldn't bother either. And then nothing gets done. But if they're rich, I actually have unique experience with this because my father was an accountant for the church. Okay. I've actually been audited by multiple government agencies. I've been privy to conversations about fines that have happened with government auditors and things like that. Nobody that knows anything about dealing with government oversight is opining on this. They're all opining from a position of like, oh, I want to do damage to the church. Or else, oh, the church can do no wrong. Here's the reality of the fact, okay? The church has billions. I think it's hundreds of billions, not even 44 billion. I think it's literally utter hundreds of billions because they have 200 years of tithing and positive investments motivated by what? Not having to pay a lay clergy and people that literally feel they are building Zion. At some point, Zion has to exist and will be built not just as a people, but as a physical place. Also, we believe in the law and the heart of the harvest. We're the only organization that actually practices what it preaches. Everywhere they say, you gotta be fiscally conservative, but the RNC is paycheck to paycheck. And everybody always says like, oh, you know, government, the only thing that all of us belong to. Yet the DNC is paycheck to paycheck. The U.S. government is in debt to itself, its citizenship, and China to the tune of 23% of its budget. Everybody is underwater. The average American can't afford a $500 medical emergency and is living paycheck to paycheck in a world where nobody practices the law of the harvest. There's one organization that I know of that does. And it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And having practiced that law of the harvest for some 150, 200 years, whatever it is, okay, they've amassed a war chest. And that war chest has to get declared. Well, just like me and my wife can declare two separate tax returns, as long as, you know, we declare what we have, or we can declare one tax return. You can break it up into 15 pieces and have, they call them shell companies, like it's some kind of mafioso move here. But let me tell you, like, this has been boomer modus operandi on in financial markets forever. Oftentimes they'll put all of the agricultural commodities in one company. They'll put all of the traded commodities in another. They'll put all the real estate in another, and they'll actually hire experts to manage all of these. Sometimes it's done for convenience. Sometimes it's done to, yes, try and lower the visible profile of the wealth of an organization by splitting it up into smaller, more manageable parts that also don't seem as big. So when predatory psychopath anti-Mormons who are so brain damaged by their hatred that sit all day seething on their laptops, trying to find something else to put on Mormon leaks, all right, it can grab a bone of something. Yeah, let's lower the profile for those psychopaths. I'm actually surprised they didn't have more, quote, shell companies. And the hilarious part is the church did nothing wrong. The SEC comes in and says, hey, well, what are all these shell companies? And they're like, we're trying to lower the profile of the church. And like, okay, well, we want to look through here. To this day, I haven't found a single person that can name an asset that wasn't actually reported. Now, the SEC, you know, they don't like that there's 15 different companies. They want to be able to audit the church, walk in and audit the church. So they tell the church, hey, look, you got to do this differently like 3 years ago. So the church says, fine, we believe in being subject to rulers, princes, principalities, and upholding and sustaining the law. So they're told by the government to do it a certain way. They do it that certain way. But the government has now stepped in. They make their money off of freaking fines to pay for their bureaucracy, okay? And also they have wide powers of jurisdiction. And anybody that knows anything about audits knows that the SEC doesn't show up at your office without coming away with something. The auditors knew it. The church knew it. Everybody knows it. And a perfect example of this is actually, I won't say who this is, but a very close family member / possibly a cousin of mine was an auditor for one of the big four companies for a long time. And dude, he was like, yeah, whenever we got audited, I would go into my books, all right, and I would take 2 of the receipts for some of the travel trips and some of the dinners, and I'd wad them up and then I'd throw them away. And this cat's telling me, I was like, why did you do that? Right? And he's like, because whenever the auditors come in and they look through the books, they'll find those 2 receipts. And they'll say, oh, you didn't report that $1,500 travel, and oh, you didn't report that $500 meal. Oh, see, there's $2,000. Oh, misreporting. Okay, cool. We get a $500 fine. That auditor gets to come in and, kind of like say he did something. The business is like, oh, yeah, you're right. Wow, I didn't notice that. Oh, we lost that receipt somewhere. Okay. It's like, oh, I believe you, but just now, you got to pay these $500 for it. He'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, here, let's balance these books. Yes, give you your $500. As he's like putting 50 million through other funds elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not saying that's what the church did, but I'm just saying whenever you get audited, okay, anybody that knows anything, I guarantee you the SEC was like, dude, we got to come away with something here. And the church is like, okay, what do you need to be formidable enough that you can say you did something and small enough that it represents the nothing burger that this actually is? So the church had to pay a $1 million fine.
I think it was $4 million.
No, Ensign Peaks had to pay $4 million. It was 5 in total. Ensign Peaks, the advisor company that the church hired, they were the ones that are actually dividing all these things up. You know what I'm saying? And of course, all the anti-Mormons want to say like, oh, the church knew every inch of it, and they were privy to it. And Russell M. Nelson, no, he's not a 92-year-old heart surgeon. He's a 92-year-old financial wizard, and he was the Wolf of Wall Street in it. That's what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, all these people that sit seething because they hate the church and have no lives have whipped up every single idea in their head. But this is fake news. It is literally fake news. And I will qualify. What does fake mean? Okay. Because Donald Trump changed the lexicon. Fake doesn't mean there is no SEC. The Security and Exchange Commission does exist. Fake doesn't mean there's no Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It doesn't mean that the audit didn't happen. It doesn't mean that the $5 million, $4 million of which is paid for by third-party managers of the church's funds, doesn't mean that this did not happen. Don't let the woke scolds and the anti-Mormons deceive you and lie to you, okay? What it means is politically motivated beyond the point of representing truth in a reasonable and rational way. So this whole oversight thing, okay, has been misrepresented by people that hate us in a non-rational way because they sit there seething at their keyboards hating the church. And they'll say, oh, no, but the church did. The church was afraid. The church was afraid that people wouldn't pay their tithing if they knew how much the church had. No, there's not a faithful member out there that is paying, thinking, oh, the church really needs this. They're going under. They're going under if I don't give my widow's mite, man. No. We all understand. It's one of the few tangible physical ways of actually ushering in spiritual benefits. We don't believe in a prosperity gospel. What I'm saying is one of the few tangible, physical, touchable manifestations of an inward belief that we have, other than our physical service to the Lord or our friends and family in our community, is actually our tithing. And it's a spiritual principle. Yes, it has all kinds of physical blessings. Okay, put you ahead of your finances, make you aware of how much you do and don't make. I think just simply as an exercise in financial awareness, it's worth it right off the bat, okay? But this idea that the church was worried people wouldn't pay tithing, so they tried to build shell companies, only shows how brain damaged all these anti-Mormons are. They're just brain damaged, okay? Palace One, in the middle of my rant, we're just going to interrupt this because we did get a super chat, and I will stop for super chats. Says, please address the intellectual dishonesty of Mormon Rescue, especially their first video on YouTube. I can't speak to that. Guys reached out to me a couple times asking me to watch some of his videos or pay attention to some of his stuff. I don't want to misrepresent what he said because I don't remember right off the bat, but he has reached out to me. And I got to tell you, I get really, really tired of anti-Mormon content that uses Mormon in it in order to try and garner SEO. Mormon stories, LDS discussions, Radio Free Mormon, all of these people are trying to get Mormon in their name so that when NBC wants to do an article on, oh, we heard that there's ritual satanic abuse and we got to get a Mormon's comment on it. Oh, let's go on the internet and look it up. And, oh, the Mormon Stories podcast. Oh, well, I bet you they can give us comment. Oh, and there's this Radio Free Mormon go. Okay. They literally just do it so that they're the first ones that mainstream media calls when they try and get commentary on the Mormon church, so they can just dunk on the church and misrepresent it. And they always lie and say, oh, yeah, we're Mormon. Yeah, we're Mormon. No, they're all excommunicated, disenfranchised, or self-identified antagonists of the church that are fighting against it, but trying to represent themselves to the outside world as people that are inside of it, and they self-proclaim as, yeah, I'm Mormon. Yeah, I'm Mormon. No, we're not an ethnicity. We're not our flesh and bone. We are our belief. Okay, and they're liars. Frankly, they're just liars. So anyway, the whole SEC scandal is fake. I guarantee you these people sat down and probably all but one step away from negotiated whatever this fine was, okay? And then now it's over with, because at the end of the day, they didn't find anything the Mormon Church did not disclose. All of its assets, whether filed jointly with their wives or separately, all the assets were actually declared, and these assets were only the ones that were traded under the regulatory jurisdiction of the SE of the Security Exchange Commission. I don't even think the real estate assets and other things like that count in this audit or whatever. Okay, so anyway,
Cardin,
hit it.
Now that I know how much money the church has, because I don't know, it's hundreds of billions. That's a lot of money. Don't you think we as members could maybe ask for like an 8% tithing?
Yeah. You got to hit that up with the Lord, man.
Yeah.
And personally, I think
I'd go for 5%, but
I think you've done such a great job mothering our children, and just like, you're so spiritual that it
I
really
get a tithing pass.
I think it should be kind of like progressive taxation. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more spiritual, the less you got to pay.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
Seems fair.
Yeah, seems fair to me. Yeah. You'd be down with that, buddy?
I would be so spiritual. I would be so spiritual.
Oh, if you got a discount in tithing, bro?
Yes.
His Ryder's definitely paying a ton of money on his
Well,
tithing.
if you're
money.
past 8, don't you have to pay?
Well,
Yeah, how much money's in your wallet? Huh?
I'd like to think that you don't have to pay, but you find joy and blessings in paying. You know what I'm saying? He is your son, Brittany. He is your son.
Tithing's a hard one for me.
Yeah. You know what's a crazy thing that I just remembered I heard? Did you hear what person is about to join the church? What famous person?
Oh, is it the rapper?
Yes, NBA YoungBoy has announced that because he's on house arrest for something right now in Utah. So he's been meeting with the missionaries, and he says he regrets all of his bad lyrics he ever wrote, and that once he gets off house arrest, he's gonna get baptized. And now I'm just thinking, the stake he's in is about to be pumped up for stake dances. Like, what the heck?
Dude, that's
get him for reform for that.
He's going to be one of those converts that can actually swear during his testimony and nobody gets pissed because they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's fresh. He's fresh.
What if the church, he starts making, like, good lyrics, like Christian rapper stuff.
Lyrics.
Okay? The church puts on a concert for everyone to go to in Salt Lake City, Utah, or in Utah somewhere that anyone can go to. Wouldn't that be absolutely lit? Just
I think that'd be pretty sick. I mean, Gladys Knight's getting replaced by a gangster rapper. You know what I'm saying?
You just aged yourself.
Well, no, that's the joke, is that Gladys Knight and the Osmonds are getting replaced because they tour.
How did you even think about Gladys Knight?
What even is Gladys Knight?
No, because she has a tour, and in that tour, she also oftentimes promotes materials from the church.
I get it. I get what you're trying to say. It's just
even the Osmonds don't do that.
I would not even have
Awesome.
thought about Gladys Knight. That was just funny.
Jeez.
That was
Look,
funny.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I
wouldn't have married you if you weren't.
All right. Rock on. So, anyway, does anybody have any question about this SEC thing? Because to me, this is a big fat nothing burger. I'm proud that the church actually has a war chest and puts its money where its mouth is. I trust the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to effectively manage the money that I give it in tithing far better than any other organization in the world. In fact, all you woke scolds and Exmo anti-Mormons out there that hate the church and are sitting there seething with your MPC brains not being able to compute all of this. That's funny that I was stuttering as I said compute. That's like that was actually the irony of that is really hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway, all of you that are sitting seething at your keyboards, all right? Tell me one organization you think would handle the money better, because they weren't hiding anything there. You can't hide what has to be reported in a mandatory fashion. Okay? You can lower the profiles. You can pull some strings here and there to try and make it not broadcast to the world like, hey, we're a giant target for lawsuits. You know, you can do that. But you're not going to be able to make anything disappear. The church didn't make anything disappear. Nothing was hidden, okay? The SEC didn't like the way that the Ensign Peaks guys gave advice to the church and the way that they handled the 15 different companies. And so they slapped them on the wrist and said, no, you got to do it our way or else we're going to fine you. In fact, here's you owe us $1 million of your like 100 billion. You owe us $1 million. You owe us 0.00001. We're going to find you 0.001%, you know? So, Chris Murphy asks, Chris, you're not a member anymore, Chris. I don't know. Should I answer his question? I don't know. He's dedicated and I appreciate dedication. So then why did the church use shell companies? First off, they're not called shell companies outside of gangster movies from the 70s, but, the Salt Lake Tribune, okay, and Progmo Peggy Fletcher Stack, who still can't get anything right, cited like 5 anti-Mormons who called them everything from shell companies to ghost companies to, I've heard them called everything online that they're not, other than just like companies, okay? And yeah, I mean, they created a bunch of smaller companies under the umbrella of one to divide up all the assets, so that none of them stuck out as being hypermassive, most likely probably to keep the church from becoming a target for lawsuits. I mean, this is a basic strategy of investments that has been employed for 100 years by anybody that knows anything about the financial market. Therefore, if the church is actually hiring a third-party financial advisor, does it surprise us that they have done third-party financial advisor things? No. Now, some people may not like it. Obviously, the SEC wasn't happy about it, so they came to some agreement, and the church paid $1 million fine. Okay, fine. They said, we'll do it the government's way because we believe in complying with governments around the world, and this whole thing is done. But no, they were hiding. No, you're so desperate to create a narrative that's not there that you will like, man, for people that talk about cognitive dissonance and mental gymnastics, like, man, how the lengths they will go to just like arrive at something nefarious is, you're going to give yourself an ulcer, Chris. You're going to give yourself an ulcer, man. You can't go around the world thinking that everybody else in the world is that bad. I'm with Bill Burr on this one. And this is actually something that I say to some of the conservative conspiracy theorists. Like, the Illuminati, okay?
Ooh, yeah, let's talk about that.
The great, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll talk about that. But the Illuminati, the great cabal, the Freemasons, the Rothschild family, and Skull and Bones and Owl and Key, okay? Not all of them can be running the world at once, okay? There can only be one great cabal, and you got to choose who your cabal is, okay? Do they got Jewish space lasers? Is it really the Clintons offing people?
Yes.
Is it really, okay, fine. Is it really the Freemasons? I literally saw a History Channel episode once that said that the Hells Angels had penetrated the White House and Congress. That the Hells Angels counter-surveillance unit in the 90s had gotten so deep embedded in local government that they made it to Congress. So it's like, I'm sorry, but Bill Burr one time, he said something hilarious in like an open panel. He said, choose your scandal because Hillary Clinton can't be guilty of all 5 at once. Somebody cannot be that evil, or else they would wake up in the morning and their brain would just explode, right? So like, it can't be all of these things, okay? The church can't be super stupid
Turn.
while simultaneously evil genius, while simultaneously controlling the world, while simultaneously not worth paying attention. Like, it's just what? Buddy?
So if someone was that evil and their brain exploded, so are we thinking that President Joe Biden's brain already exploded and that's why he's...
Yes.
I was reading a super chat. I didn't actually notice what you said. I just heard something about Joe Biden's brain.
That it
And
exploded?
it's just not working right now. It's just not working.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chris says, an Inside Peak, church owned, paid $4 million. Yes, church pays Inside Peak. And they bore the brunt of the majority of the fine, $4 million. I think the church only have to pay $1 million or something like that. So whatever. I would never pay a fine unless I was guilty. You've never been audited. You've never been audited. One time I was filling out paperwork and I missed a box that I didn't check on a government form. And before I'd finished, the auditor shows up and he looks over my shoulder and I hadn't checked the box and he said, that's a violation. And what I could have fought. I actually asked a lawyer, I said, do I have any recourse here? And he says, yeah, you could sue him. You could literally say that before the audit was complete and before I had a chance to finish the paperwork, the auditor said I was in violation and there were witnesses that I hadn't had a chance to complete the act, therefore I could not be in violation. And you could do a lawsuit. And so, do you want to do a lawsuit? It's going to cost you $5,000. How much is the fine? And I was like, $2,500. And he's like, yeah, it is in your best interest to just go pay the fine. Because the problem goes away if you pay the fine. The government gets to have flexed its muscles. You just pay the fine. You don't make the same mistake the next time. They get to say they did their thing. You get to say you did your thing and we're compliant, and everybody walks away happy for only $2,500. It is worth it to you to just pay the fine and move on. That's all that's happening here. That's literally all that's happening here. You had a whistleblower who's literally, in my opinion, probably just another predatory lawyer that just goes around trying to find mirrors that are 2 inches too low in the bathrooms of restaurants, and then having people in wheelchairs that never even go to those restaurants. They've actually caught lawyers in Los Angeles doing this, by the way, like teaming up with people in wheelchairs to go and measure bathrooms to see if there's any ADA compliance. Any ADA compliance violations, and then they'll just sue the restaurant for like $5,000, and just make all these small potatoes monies, but it adds up to being a lot of money later. But anyway, Chris Murphy, bro, you're grasping at straws. That's all that happened here. I guarantee you the church is like, we get out of this for $1 million. Cool, I'll take your $1 million. Let's bail. Are you done? And the SEC's like, yeah, well, we kind of got to say we found something. And the church is like, okay, and this all ends like today? Yeah, okay, fine. Steve Allred, go get the checkbook. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Chris. You're grasping at straws, and the church acknowledged mistakes were made, and is now considered the matter closed.
Who's Chris?
Yeah, because what else are you gonna say? Okay. SEC doesn't like how we did this. We changed how we did it. Made a mistake, paid the bones, move on. I mean, there was a sit down. Like, I don't know. I guess you just don't have experience with audits or with the financial markets or with, I don't know, much of anything other than hating the church and trying to find narratives that do it damage. Although I will say, I am proud of the system. I think the church was very compliant. I love that America has transparency laws like this, and this is something unique to America. This never happens in other countries. And this is why only spoiled, rich, white, Western, suburban, middle-aged men dominate the bloggernacle, because only wealthy, spoiled elites could be this toxic. And only in a wealthy country that has transparency laws as good as ours. Because let me tell you, no other country has such transparent requirements for all of its 501c3s, its tax exempt organizations, its churches. This is a beautiful part of America. This kind of discord is actually what freedom sounds like. Okay, so I'm very proud of my country. I'm proud of my church. The system's working, okay, when we're having conversations like this. So anyway, yeah. So let me see here. Want to go into the mean? Oh, shoot, it's already 7:30. Do you want to debunk a couple of comments and then we stop? Or
Yeah, I gotta go soon.
Yeah, you gotta go
Where
soon.
you gotta
You
go?
know?
To bed.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
That's
sick.
funny.
One thing also.
Okay. Yeah. What? What,
while
brother?
you're looking at things.
Okay. Hit it up.
New show, or not new show, 5th season of show on BYU TV, Making Goods, premiering.
Okay.
The first episode came out last Sunday. I think there will be a new one this Sunday. But it's a really good show. Stars Kirby Heyborn.
Yeah. Our boy
hometown
Kirby.
hero, our boy Kirby.
Dude, you
and-
want to see Carden in some goth makeup?
Kirby, like the Pokemon?
What? No,
No.
it was a guy in our.
No.
state.
Okay. So Kirby Heyborn's actually a friend of mine. He, like all the big Mormon actors come down to Los Angeles at some point and have some aspect of their career here. So whether it's Lincoln Hoppe, Eric Smith, Kirby Heyborn, Corbin Allred, McLean Nelson, all these guys, they all live down here. Will Rubio. Actually, I don't know where Will lives, but most of the big names in kind of like Mormon acting, they have to cruise to Hollywood at some point, right? And so many of them end up in our stake, okay? And so we become friends with them, right? Lincoln's a great guy. Kirby's a great guy. Had a long friendship with Kirby here before he unfortunately had to betray us all in California and return to Utah for his BYU TV show. But anyway, he did a Mother's Day music video. And he asked some of his friends to be in the music video with him. So I play the bass guitarist. It's like this punk rocker. And I got like white goth makeup on with, I think, like blue lipstick. And it's like, Mommy, I love you. It's
I
like a
wanna see
total.
that. Like,
Yeah, it's like a total. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Actually, I think we could pull it up really fast. I hope he
Yeah.
doesn't copyright strike me.
I want.
But
Kirby
YouTube,
Heyborn copyright
Kirby
strike.
Heyborn,
Yeah.
Mommy, I love you.
'Cause he
uh-huh.
was in the RM, right?
Yeah.
St. Joe's Ward, which is one of my favorite movies.
Okay. Really? Still?
I love St. Joe's Ward.
Okay,
That's
rock
such
on,
a-
yeah.
And then he's doing this now. So this is a
Okay.
good show.
Dang it. I can't remember if it's on Lincoln's YouTube channel or if it's on
Kirby.
yeah, it was called Kerblink, I think it was. So if I look up Kerblink, Mommy, I love you, I'm going to see what it actually says here. Oh my gosh, here it is. Yeah. You really want to watch it, dude?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I come over there?
Okay. Hold on, I got to turn this down. Hold on, give me a second. This is like way embarrassing. It's like old school.
Oh, I've seen it.
You see this one? Yeah, so that's Kirby Heyborn. All right, and then look at who's to his right. Okay, that's me right there. Oh yeah, dude, dude, like that's Lincoln. That's me playing the
I feel completely special only when you're there. I want to take you with me everywhere. Mommy, I need you. Mommy, I need you. Mommy, I need you. Mommy, I need you.
So we're all playing these like punk rockers, and it was like, yeah.
Dad, no offense to you, but Mommy's much better than you. And Dad, you're cool and
Yeah,
tough, but sometimes I need cuddles and stuff. You gotta understand that it's tough out there. People are mean and rude and just don't care. I feel completely special only when Mom's there. I wanna take her with me everywhere. Mommy!
Is on point. Yeah, look at that right there. Cardinellis as a rocker with Kirby Heyborn. looking like the dude from Emo's Not Dead. Yeah, that was pretty funny right there. Okay, so anyway, yeah, y'all never thought you'd see that, huh? By the way, anybody ever seen that before?
Seen what?
That video of us
I
doing
have.
that? Yeah, you have? Okay, cool. Anyway, let's just go over some of the mean tweets really fast, and then we'll get out of here. So first mean tweet that was actually kind of funny. This was actually an email that we got, because I get these emails on our website. But message, what do I want in my church? How about honest clergy? Do you know any? Stipend equals lame excuse, makes me chuckle. None of you stand the least chance of being invited to the big party at Adamon Diamond. Not even Kwaku. Okay, so obviously, this guy's referencing my reference to the fact that anybody that tries to say, oh, the apostles are paying, that's bad. Well, what are they supposed to do? Grovel in the streets? When you call somebody to be an apostle of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, you are literally condemning them to no longer be able to work for the rest of their life. Okay? They now have a 24/7 calling. This isn't a part-time calling like being an area authority or being a local bishop, which is totally lay clergy. You have literally forced them out of their position of work. Therefore, you have to give them a living stipend that is equal to just literally, it's 1% above the what's called the economic stress threshold. Okay, it's considered that you have to make $127,000 in America at least to be able to afford to live here, having purchased a home that's at the median home value, be able to afford two plane flights a year to go visit family or funerals or weddings, and then have enough for an average family of 4 with groceries and pay your taxes and your car payment, with enough disposable income to like go see a movie once a month or something. There's this thing called the economic stress threshold, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases all of these statistics out there, and all kinds of different companies use them to analyze cost of living when they develop packages to offer employees in their companies. So the church gives a small amount, a living stipend that is less than a community college administrator makes. Okay? So no, the church isn't lying. No, the church isn't hiding anything. And yes, the fact that they receive a living stipend is meaningful, worthwhile, honest, fair, okay? And people that want to say it are just so brain damaged by their hatred that they can't think straight. So anyway, next mean tweet.
I'm thinking of a straight line.
Okay. So we've gotten a lot of love from people saying, yes, every LDS mom needs to hear this, talking about defeating the evil feminists in the church. And this one I thought was really funny. Okay, this one was hilarious. Shay B, we're not calling you out here. I'm just using you as an example. It's really funny. But this lovely woman, I assume is a lovely woman, got kind of angry at it first and said, I'm only partway through this, but I can't help but be bothered. First of all, you guys should have gotten some actual women on. She's extremely bothered. She says it's ridiculous that we got giant egos. We shouldn't make fun of She-Hulk. You know what I'm saying? And then she accuses us of locker room talk, and that, feminists are actually saving the world. Men are misogynistic, so on and so, all the keywords, right? All of the feels, okay? And then we get another one, these telephone posts, right? Until finally, I guess she cooled down and said something pretty hilarious. But she said, I realized my previous comment seemed harsh. I like what you guys are doing. This is a very needed discussion, but I mean, do better and be better was something she consistently said, right? So I couldn't help but notice something. She was complaining a lot about us being uncouth, being brazen, being kind of like the jerks in the room, shall we say, and being inappropriate and all this other stuff, while lambasting what women say in the church, especially the hyper vocal feminists, as being hypocritical, okay, and being disassociated from reality, not representative of what they say they want and need and deserve, and then acting another way. So I responded with the following. And please tell me you see the humor in this, because my wife didn't the first time around. But I responded. And I said, fact. what women say they want not being what they act like they want, you know what I'm saying, is right in front of you. I said fact. What women say they want is completely different than what they act upon. Example, girls always say they want well-measured, wholesome conversations and then watch the jerks talking flippantly and disrespectfully on YouTube. And what's the proof? You'd almost think we realized this hypocrisy from the beginning and capitalized on it. It's almost as though, dare I say, we purposefully decided stylistically not to be well-measured because well-measured is boring, and got this pretty girl, Shay B, to pay attention to us and comment on our videos instead of the wholesome boys elsewhere on the internet being boring. You know, Shay, please tell me that you kind of see this, you know, that here you are commenting 2-3 times on the video of the bad boys, you know, while the good guys having wholesome conversations elsewhere are just, they're not getting any love. So you kind of just proved that wholesome is boring. Girls don't like boring, and they engage with the jerks in the bloggernacle. If you were to assume that we were actually jerks, which I hope you don't. But you seem like a nice lady. You have a lovely avatar, and we're not calling you out. We're just pointing out. We're just saying that I kind of noticed something there. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, we only got 2 more left, and then we got a jam. So, chat, any last burning questions? Send us super chats right now. We're already 11 minutes over. I promised my wife we wouldn't go too far over here. So, we're just going to read a couple of more of these before we bounce. But Lisa Gunmo said something really interesting responding to our video. Said, women are so busy trying to do things men can do that we can't or aren't or won't do the things that only women can do. Man, Lisa, what a great comment. I've always said women are constantly told in modern society, I don't blame them. It's a very confusing time to grow up if you're a woman. You're constantly told that you have to go out and get a corporate job, get this massive education, and that you have to compete with all these guys and become a boss bee and all this other stuff. And that you are your job, you are your education, you are your resume. And that you are lesser. They fool you into thinking that you are lesser if you go home and do the thing that no godless, faceless corporation can do, that no university can do, that no resume can do, and that is create a new human life and usher that human life through the veil and cultivate your legacy at home during their formative years and become a mother, the greatest job title on earth. The title that God gave the earth, Mother Earth. All right. So, I mean, how godless, faceless, soulless corporations convinced modern women that they need to be working for corporations before they are worthy of self-worth, instead of being at home doing what no godless, faceless corporation can do, cultivating their legacy. That is the greatest theft of all time. You know, it's actually a French quote from 200 years ago that the greatest trick, the finest trick that the devil ever did was convince people that he did not exist. I believe that the greatest trick the devil did in the 21st century was convincing women that they need to go work for a godless and soulless corporation before staying at home and doing what a godless, soulless corporation cannot do, and that's creating life and nurturing that life and nurturing your legacy. So anyway, last 2 right here. This is the last one. This is the last contentious one. Okay, no more contention after this one. But our friend Brecca here says, bro. Now, first off, I love the fact she called me bro. Anybody that calls us bro, you're welcome.
Bro.
Says, can you please stop compartmentalizing women on some hot scale? Please. It's so shallow. I hope you grow out to it. I hope there's beauty outside of it. I love this podcast, but stop, you know, yada, yada, this and that. Okay, fine. And so I couldn't help it. I had to respond. And this was the response down here. I said, as soon as women stop measuring men on height and insist on dating men taller than them, men will stop measuring them on a scale of their looks. As soon as women stop compartmentalizing men into their paycheck and their height, once women can stop doing that, then they can start demanding that men stop judging them on a scale of 1 to 10.
I've
You
seen
know?
I've seen so many videos online where women are like, I'll only date a guy if he's like 6'9". I'm like, how many people do you think are 6'9" in this world?
Do you know once you're above 6'2", you're in the top 1% of world history?
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. So anyway,
Can I be 7 foot?
you're actually probably gonna be tall, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Ryder.
You're gonna be like 6'5" or up, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other
Nice.
questions before we go? If not, by the way, babe, before we go, you never said what happened to Taylor Frankie Paul. Did we just miss that? Are you dying?
I'm dying.
Okay, well, we'll get you out of here because it is raining like crazy. I'm actually really happy that the lights didn't go off because we've been having a problem with power because of the
Rain.
the rain here in Los Angeles. It's been torrential. In fact, it might even snow. Last word, Ryder. Hit it. What's the last word?
If we're just all quiet, we can hear all the rain.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. If you can hear it upon the rooftops of the sound stages. You know what I'm
The
saying?
gate is like.
So, anyway, who's got anything else left to say? Nothing in yonder chat. Okay, cool, sweet. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. This has been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. We're gonna go now. If you haven't had a chance yet, actually, I'm gonna save that announcement. I'm gonna save it, but we got some really cool things coming. If you haven't had a chance, please like the stream. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I know about half of you guys don't subscribe, and because you don't want to get on a YouTube account or anything like that. But please consider it. We'll see you guys in the next program. This is Midnight Mormons. Catch you later.